What's going on, Babylonians? It's me, Songs of Rage, back with another Outriders Worldslayer video to bring to you, and today we're actually going to be covering something that's potentially broken for the Technomancer when it comes to their packs tree, and something that I've never really noticed until I actually started doing some videos regarding like the minigun and all that kind of thing. Basically all those kind of anomaly kind of bottom tree builds, and it just kind of struck me that we're actually going to see potentially a huge increase in damage, an increase in anomaly power that's really going to make Technomancers really stand out. So before we get into it any further, make sure you have dropped a like and a subscriber. Really does help the channel out, and let's get right into what I found. Alright, so the first thing that we've got to be able to pay attention to is the fact that we have Skill Leech in this game, and obviously Skill Leech is primarily the way to be able to heal yourself from all the damage that you deal from skills and from status effects. So normally this is not a fairly low-ish kind of number, but this is kind of here to be able to help you obviously stay alive in a fight, to be able to go on top of your intrinsic healing and all that kind of thing, to be able to obviously, you know, keep yourself healthy, keep yourself in the fight, to be able to keep yourself from falling down and obviously dying in the process. Now, with the Technomancer, I've managed to actually put some figures together just to be able to see what the max amount of skills life leech is, and the reason why we're going to go into that is because Emergency Transfusion, as a description, says that when you're below 30% health, you will actually double your skills life leech. Now, in the past, this actually hasn't been too much of a something to be able to actually go out and grab, because as a Technomancer, you're healing from damage in the first place, and usually this damage is more than enough to be able to keep yourself alive. Obviously, as long as you've got enough armor to be able to reduce the incoming damage in the first place. But with the introduction of packs trees, we're actually going to start seeing like potentially a shift there, maybe even seeing additional anomaly power, and obviously that's going to transfer into damage when it comes to anomaly power Technomancers and their builds in general. So this is going to go across the board. Obviously this will happen for Scrapnels, this will happen for Tools of Destruction, this will happen for your Pain Launcher, etc, etc. So basically anything that you primarily use your skill to be able to deal damage with is going to see a massive benefit from actually having this bottom tree. And it's very misleading, because I kind of assumed that this bottom tree was actually going to be okay, it was going to be a nice little buff and all that, but primarily top tree of the packs tree is actually going to be probably the main one to be able to go for, unless you're a triple turret Technomancer. But now it's actually made me rethink about everything that's going to happen, because this is just... Let's get into the figures, let's have a quick look into it as to why I think this is probably as strong as it actually is. Alright, so what I've managed to do is break this down. So I've managed to piece together what's the max we can get from the skill tree, what's the max we can actually get from armor and weapons, what's the max we can actually use for when it comes to armor pieces, or like the mods that we can actually put into those armor pieces or those weapons, and is there any other kind of things that will actually affect basically the increase in total. So as standard, as a Technomancer, you get a 15% skill leech. So this is obviously, you know, kind of on the low side, so you know, relatively it's just there as a base. It's just that obviously you're expected to be able to increase it from there. From the skill tree, we do have two nodes that give 6% each, which obviously will then increase it by 12%, so therefore we're now up to 27%. When you actually go into your armor pieces and your weapons, each one can actually, as long as you've got it equipped, is able to increase by 4.49% each, and obviously this is a total of 6 because you've got 5 armor pieces and 1 weapon, so that bumps it up by another 26.94%. There is only one mod in this game that is actually able to boost up your skills leech, and that's obviously if you're able to get a killing blow, and this is tier 1 mod of Vampire, which boosts it by 15%. We also have Heavy Absorption, which is going to be also boosting it by 15% when you're under 30% health. And then this is where it gets really interesting, because if we go into our packs tree, because if we go for the bottom tree, which also goes for the Undying, therefore if we were under 30%, which is what I'm doing all these calculations based off of, we're basically getting 10% per 10% of our skills leech is going to be increased for every 10% that we're actually missing from our total health. So therefore, if we're actually basing it under the conditions of being under 30% health, we're actually getting a boost to of plus 70% right there. And right, if we add all of that all together, this comes to 153.94% skills life leech. Now, we also haven't factored in the Ascension tree just yet, and obviously we do have 50 points that we're able to put into, and we do also have a node for skill leech, and this is 1.2%, and I believe this may be 1.2% all the way through, but obviously we don't know if there's any kind of like diminishing returns as the further we get into it. So if we just base it purely based on the fact that it's 1.2% for each point, there's another 60% right there, and what that does is it will boost it all the way up to 213.94% in terms of skills leech, which is just insane as a figure by itself. But the crazy interaction is the way for this is because if we're now under 30% health, which is what we've been basing these figures off. Emergency transfusion will now double that. So we're now looking at 213.94% times 2, and all of a sudden we're now looking at around about 427% skills life leech, which means probably one bullet will actually heal yourself back up from the minigun that hasn't even been revved up or anything like that. It's just going to be absolutely insane. What makes this stupid, though, and this is probably why I feel the need to be able to actually do this bit in the first place, is because we actually have the next point over in the pack tree, which is called Override, where your anomaly power is increased by 50% of your skills leech. Now, because we've stacked up our skills leech as high as it is for 427%, we're actually going to see half of that percentage-wise get put straight back into our build. So that 213.94% that I was talking about before emergency transfusion actually started kicking in, that percentage is going to be applied to our anomaly power on the build as it currently stands. So therefore, when I was doing this, well, I was roughly looking at a minigun build that had around about, let's say, 166k anomaly power. We're now seeing a 213.94% boost to that, which means that we're looking at around about... So we're now going to see our 166k actually get boosted all the way up to 355.14k anomaly power, which on paper is absolutely insane. We've never seen a Technomancer really get this high, and just factor in the fact that if you actually go as a minigun and you go for the massacre boost, which means obviously you can stack up to 5 times to be able to get around about, I think it's about a 38k anomaly power increase as well. We've got that to factor in because that will go straight into the start of the calculations and get boosted even higher. So if we actually take, let's say for argument's sake it is 38k, and we stack that by 5, that's 190k anomaly power right there, and then we feed that straight back into the 213.94. There's a 406k anomaly power boost right there, and as soon as you've had that back on, we're now over 800k anomaly power, which obviously we've got some decent resistance piercing as well on top of that. It's just insane. The interaction that's going to be, obviously this will need a condition to be met of being under 30% health, but even if we don't even factor that in, just that small part of it, obviously the 2 times boost is going to be the big part, but even just going for like obviously just using this as standard and just, you know, it's going to provide still a substantial anomaly power boost that actually anomaly power Technomancers might actually start seeing a little bit more play, and actually might be considered some of the better anomaly power builds that are actually in the game. So I'm very curious. I'm very eager to be able to get my hands on this, to be able to test this out, and I really want to see how high I can stack my anomaly power up, and maybe see if we can actually start competing with Pyros when it comes to anomaly power boost. But yeah, that's my findings. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Is this something that's actually going to, if you actually can meet these conditions, is this something that would actually make you consider actually picking up obviously anomaly power Technomancers? Is this something that might actually make miniguns a bit more viable? I'm genuinely curious as to what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Now on screen, I'm just going to do a few more calculations just to be able to show off what I've managed to put into it. So just still working off that 166k anomaly power, but tidying up basically everything that I've just been speaking about, just to be able to make it a little bit more accurate for you. So I hope you've enjoyed, I hope you've learned something useful with yourselves, and I hope you're as eager to be able to get into this as I am. Make sure you drop a like and a subscribe, it really does help the channel out. And as always, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. Thank you so much to the Babylonian family for their continued support. And that just leaves me to say, keep yourself safe, keep yourselves well, and I'll see you all on our next video.